What up, y'all? It's the real Ricky Ross, as if you didn't know. And you watching Taylor House Publishing. Stay tuned. We got a lot of stuff coming out. We on the move, y'all. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel.
I have been on probation in Virginia since 2008. In 2008, I was shot 3 times while holding my 3-month-old daughter, close range. At the scene, I had some D-rugs on me, cocaine. When they cut, you know, and I'll tell the story. I guess when they cut my pants off, they found the substance. And then soon after I got out of the hospital, they came to get me for possession. Long story short, they gave me an 8-year sentence with 8 years suspended. This was in Virginia. So I was on probation for 11 years. And during that 11-year time period, I failed 11 drug tests. Who am I now? 4-time felon. You know what I'm saying? I've been shot twice, stabbed, had 2 robbery charges, 7 DWIs, hit and runs, assaults, possessions. That's who I am. You know what I'm saying? That's who I am. I can't duck that. But also now, I gotta look at the other side. I'm a 4-time author, and I'm gonna pass my book. This is my first book. It's called Brush of Legal. I actually have to defend myself because the lawyer that I had, he never asked me what happened. But the day before preliminary trial, he said, "Look, man, they offered you a plea. I think it's a good plea." He said they offer you 27 years if you waive the preliminary hearing. And I said, look, bro, you don't even know my name. You never asked me what happened. Last time, so in Norfolk, I'm on the 7th floor. The lawyers don't come up there. They talk to you over the phone. And so the last time, I said, man, the last time you hung up on me, you said you had to go. He said, well, I got to go now, too. I'll see you in court tomorrow. Click at the church. Because I had to think. Like, I grew up in the church, so I had to think when I'm laying there in the hospital full of bullets with my baby got blood all over. Thank God she won't hit. I said, how did I come from the little church boy who used to like to read and write and like poetry to almost getting me and my daughter killed, right? So that's when I started writing my first book because I had to go through my life. And if you read my book, I wrote it in the third person, like, okay, Richard did this, Richard did. I had to look at my life from an outside point of view and figure out how I got there. Amen.
And as the scripture says, all things that are hidden shall be revealed, and those things done in secret shall be exposed on the mountaintop.
Let's go, Rich. Let's go. You watching Taylor House Publishing, breaking news coverage. Give you the truth before fake news throw mud in it. Before the jury decide and the judge discover it. You should tune in to Taylor House Publishing. Taylor House Publishing, breaking news coverage. The propaganda grammar, don't believe none of it. Before the jury decide and the judge discover it. You should tune in to Taylor House Publishing. Taylor House Publishing, breaking news coverage. Give you the truth before fake news throw mud in it. Before the jury decide and the judge discover it. You should tune in to Taylor House Publishing.
Negroes have listened to the trickery and the lies and the false promises of the white man now for too long. And they're fed up. They become disenchanted. They become disillusioned. They become dissatisfied. And all of this has built up frustrations in the black community that makes the black community throughout America today more explosive than all of the atomic bombs the Russians can ever invent.
Taylor House Publishing. Taylor House. Taylor House Publishing.
Alright, so who was here last time? Nobody won't here last time. You was here last time I did it? Alright, so we got a room full of people, so I ain't gotta worry about repeating myself. So but basically I always start off peace and blessings, all praises to the Most High. Amen. Whatever Most High y'all believe in. Now, I'm gonna ask y'all a question real quick. What do y'all see when y'all look at me? Very short. What do you see?
What do I see?
Yeah.
I see a handsome man.
Okay. What do you see?
I see a sexy man.
Oh, that was What do you see?
I see a guy that's got a little bit.
What do you see?
I see somebody trying to help others because you know better.
I see a recovery.
All right. What do you see?
Somebody that been through something like me.
All right. What do you see?
I ain't gonna say what they said. Damn, that's
strength, you know what I'm
Alright.
saying? Confidence.
All right.
I see you before.
Okay. what do you see?
What's her name? Is I see someone that knows my situation, been there, done that.
All right. What do you see, my brother?
Someone who would probably guide me on my road to recovery.
What do you see?
I see a person that look like they got their life.
All right. What do you see, my
What's
brother?
the question was? I wasn't listening.
What do you see when you see me?
I strive for you, helping the clients.
Okay. All right. So, real quick.
Excuse me. I know I said I see a handsome man, but I really see a person that have went through recovery as well as us.
All right. So, real quick, same thing. What do you see when you see yourself?
Well, I see myself doing better and being strong and like be there for others, like, you know, comfort others.
What do you see when you see yourself? Short and sweet.
I see myself as to overcome my addiction.
All right. What do you see? What do you see?
I see myself working on myself, trying to be a recovery addict.
What do you see when you see yourself? All right. What do you see? Dublin. Yeah.
I see me in a big ass house.
All right. Okay.
Nice
I like
ball. And I see myself off drugs, but I'm helping somebody to get off drugs too. That's what I see. I see the vision of me. I see the vision of me helping somebody else get off drugs.
Amen.
All right. What do you see?
An addict that's recovering.
All right. What do you see?
Still out here.
All right. What do you see?
Hope for the future, baby. Amen.
What do you see?
Person struggling with drugs.
What do you see?
A person, a black man striving to get his life together.
Excuse me.
All right. What do you see, my brother, when you see yourself?
Drink less, man. Let's see another day, man.
All right. I like it. I like it. So it seems like to me everybody have been honest about who they are. You know, and that's the first step of making a change. And one thing I like about what he said is he saw himself where he wanted to be. A lot of times, what have y'all ever heard the saying, if you can see it,
You can believe it.
you can believe it. If you believe it, then
You achieve it.
you can see it. It's all visualization. You have to see yourself not where you're at, but where you want to be. But seeing yourself where you're at is once again the first step to making that change. You know, 6 years ago, I saw myself in a jail cell. Nah, I didn't see myself. I was literally in a jail cell. I was literally in the jail cell. I was facing probation. I was on probation. This was 2019. I had been on probation in Virginia since 2008. In 2008, I was shot 3 times while holding my 3-month-old daughter, close range. At the scene, I had some D-rugs on me. Cocaine. When they cut, you know, and I'll tell the story. I guess when they cut my pants off, they found the substance, and then soon after I got out of the hospital, they came to get me for possession. Long story short, they gave me an 8-year sentence with 8 years suspended. This was in Virginia, so I was on probation for 11 years, and during that 11-year time period, I failed 11 D-rug tests. Now, normally in Virginia, if you fail one, they revoke your probation.
Commonwealth State.
But I had a Christian probation officer, and every time I would fail, he would give me the long talk. Hey man, what are you gonna do, man? What are your parents gonna think if you go to jail? How's your daughter gonna live? You know, you got a lot going for you, man. You gonna be disappointment. And he would either give me a class to take just like this, but it was once a week. He would give me a class to take, and I would take the class. Sometimes I would still be using during the class. Sometimes I found a way to cheat the test. But all during that time, I failed 11 tests. Finally, when it was time for me to get off probation in 2019, he said, look, I'm about to send all your paperwork to the courthouse because I got to send this in, and so they'll let you off probation. But when they got the paperwork, they saw the 11th test I failed, so they automatically violated my probation. They came to get me, and they gave me a $2,500 bond. As a part of that bond, I had to report weekly to do a D-rug test every Wednesday. Also, they had me on something called color code. Anybody know what color code is? They had that down here. Up there, they gave you a color. So every morning, you had to call the probation officers, and if they call your color, you had to compete that day, right? So I had to compete every Wednesday and whatever they call my color. And so within 2 weeks of them giving me that bond, I failed the test. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't stay clean 2 weeks knowing that my freedom depended on it. You know, I'm trying to duck the test. I'm trying to get high and drink all the water I can. They say it only stay in your 3-day system. 3 days, that's a lie. You know what I'm saying? That's a lie. I would use on that's a lie.
See what he did.
And that's the crazy thing about addiction though, right? You can know the consequences of your actions.
Right.
But that feeling that I wanted took precedence of even my freedom. So I failed the test. They took me back to court. They revoked my probation, and they locked me up without bond. This was in August. So from August to October the 7th, I had to stay in jail. That was my court day. My court appointed lawyer was like, well, yeah, you're gonna have to do 2 years, this, that, and the other.
I'm not trying to ask you what you got up for. What you use out of work?
I told you won't listen. What I get locked up for, everybody? Possession. Yeah.
Oh, good, like me.
Yeah. So, the book of sugar. You know what I'm saying? White girl. You know what I'm saying? Snow, ski, whatever you want to call it, right? So, it's all good. I'm from Goldsboro, North Carolina. Grew up, born and raised. And but so when I was in there, I was laying down, man, and I was 41 years old, and I had to think about it. I said, every time that I've been in jail, either drugs or alcohol was involved. And I thought to myself, I said, man, and one situation had me open my eyes. It was an old man, about 70-something years old. He come in there with the walker, he got the respirator tank. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at this man like, dang, if I don't stop, that's gonna be you. That's gonna be me. I was able to see myself where I didn't want to be. Basically, I looked at that man and said, okay, I gotta change. So, just like you said though, I started praying to God and I asked God for 3 specific things. I said, on October the 7th, let me out of jail. Even though they already said I was gonna do 2 years. October the 7th, let me out of jail. Also, release me from probation. And the last question I asked God was to turn the judge's heart in my favor, right? So those two months, I prayed, fasted, and then when I went to court the morning of, the lawyer was like, yeah, man, well, we got a plea where the most we can do is a 12-month sentence and a program in jail while you in there. And so it might take me a while to get in the program. So I might even have to do more than 12 months. So I thought about it. I was like, okay, well, 12 months, that ain't bad. So when I went in the courtroom, they started reading out all the stuff. Well, yeah, he was convicted of this and such and such. He was convicted of this. He was convicted of this. And the judge looked and said, well, why is his point so high? His points is supposed to be only 30 days to 90 days. And so he said his points is high because in 2014, he was arrested for taking something that don't belong to him, kidnapping, abduction, you know what I'm saying? That word right with grape, right? I was falsely accused of that. But I went to trial and I got found not guilty. The person was lying. But even though I was found not guilty, that still counted against me, right? But this what the judge said. This how my prayer was answered. The judge was like, well, why is he punished for something that he didn't do? They was like, well, that's the rules, Your Honor. But the judge said, well, I know one thing. If it was in my hands, I wouldn't give him no 2 years. Matter of fact, I wouldn't even give him a year. When he said that, because I hadn't signed the plea yet. So I told my lawyer, I said, nah, I don't want to take the plea. I just want to plead guilty and let him do it. And when I did that, they had to, go through my whole record. But But then my mom had wrote a letter to the judge. Now we in Virginia. My mom wrote a letter to the judge. She was giving my family history. She says dad was in the service, such and such. He was in the Navy, whatever. And so the lawyer looked at me. I mean, the judge looked at me. Said, "Oh, Mr. Taylor, you was in the Navy." And I looked, I said, nah, he was talking to my father. And my mother and father was in the audience. So he looked over me and said, hey, Mr. Taylor, you was in the Navy? I was in the Navy too. What part? You know what I'm saying? So they started talking, right? They started talking. He read further down in the letter. She told him we was from Goldsboro. The judge said, oh, you guys from Goldsboro? I'm from Greenville. Yeah, I was, so I went to ECU and this, that. So they started talking about that. And so after that, he just dropped the letter. He said, look, Mr. Taylor, it's obvious that you have a substance abuse problem, but I don't see how jail is going to help you. What I'm going to do, he said, today I want to let you out of jail.
Go ahead.
Also, and he looked at the secretary, he said, look, you know how I feel about, because when you get a violation in Virginia, your probation period starts all over again. So I was supposed to have 8 more years. He said, well, you know how I feel about these long probation. What I'm going to also do is I'm gonna grant you, I'm gonna take you off probation, and I'm gonna let you out of jail today, right? So I looked and I said, I realized and I seen that God answered all 3 of my prayers right then and there. And so I thought about, because when I was in there, I filled out this place to go to a rehab in Asheville, because I'm thinking I haven't been in trouble. I just failed drug tests. So I got accepted to the program, and I was gonna take that to the judge. Like, look, if you let me out, this is a year-long program, that's where I'm gonna go. But I didn't even have to do that. You know what I'm saying? Before I even got to that point, he had let me out. So I said, okay, well, how can I repay God? What I'm gonna do, even though I didn't want to, I knew I owed him for that, because he literally showed me that he heard me, right? So that's what I did. Now, mind you, first day I got out of jail, guess what I did? You got now once again, you gotta be honest. First day, second day, third day, then you know what I'm saying? So then I came at the Goldsboro, start getting prepared for the program. I filled out, some unemployment. So when I went to the program, this is planning too. I said, well, when I went to this program, I'm gonna be getting $300 a week. So all the while I'm there, it's a free program. So when I come home a year later, I have some change to start over with, right? So I went the last day, it was November the 19th. I got out in October. I went to the program November the 19th. But the last day before I went, I went and got it out of my system. You know what I'm saying? I got it out of my system, right? Because I'm not going to lie. Just like y'all probably can't lie. I had some fun. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Up late nights, women, drinks, parties. I ain't going to lie. I had a lot of fun. So, but, thank you. You know what I'm saying? But then the morning after, spent all my money. I done missed work. I didn't take my daughter to the park like I said. You know what I'm saying? So it was the pain. Like, I got tired of being pain. I got tired of that pain, that morning after pain.
And so hurting your child.
Yeah, it hurt my child. And then what I didn't understand, every time I went to jail, it was affecting more than me. It was affecting my mother. Just like you was talking about the other day, I think. It was affecting everybody around. But you can't see that because you think, oh, I'm just hurting myself. Ain't nobody worried about that. You know what I'm saying? So basically, that's how I began my journey to recover. But starting from the beginning, and right now, so when y'all see me, a recovering addict, a motivation speaker, all of that, right? But now I can, what I'm saying? So who am I? I'm a 4-time felon. You know what I'm saying? I've been shot twice, stabbed, had 2 robbery charges, 7 DWIs, hit and runs, assaults, possessions. That's who I am. You know what I'm saying? That's who I am. I can't duck that. But also now, I gotta look at the other side. I'm a 4-time author. I'm gonna pass my book. This is my first book. It's called Brushes with Death. Y'all can look at it. Brushes with Death, the blood of Jesus. That's about my life in the streets. This second one right here is what I was telling y'all about. Wrongfully accused, rightfully acquitted. That's when I was falsely accused of the R word, kidnapping, abduction, all of those things. Right there, son of a preacher man. Now that's about my father and how he grew up.
He's not alone.
But I can can't help it though, because like I said, I've been through the legal system. I actually had to defend myself because the lawyer that I had, he never asked me what happened. But the day before preliminary trial, the day before the preliminary trial, he said, look, man, they offered you a plea. I think it's a good plea. He said they offer you 27 years if you waive the preliminary hearing. And I said, look, bro, you don't even know my name. You never asked me what happened. Last time, so in Norfolk, I'm on the 7th floor. The lawyers don't come up there. They talk to you over the phone. And so the last time, I said, man, the last time you hung up on me, you said you had to go. He said, well, I got to go now, too. I'll see you in court tomorrow. Click. Right then and there. Now, I didn't fire him then, but what I did the next day is I defended myself in court because I knew that in order for her to tell the story she told, she had to lie when I asked her certain questions. So I was able to get her to lie, and then when the real trial came, they used her lies to prove that she was lying after the DNA, the phone evidence, and all that things. You know what I'm saying? So now, yeah, basically, I'm a 4-time author. I'm a speaker. Go ahead. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna leave those books here. So y'all can pass them around when y'all. Yeah, I wrote all 4 of those books. So I'm gonna leave them there so everybody can pass them around when y'all. Yeah. But no, that ain't my story. Well, look, me? Yeah, I got copies. 20. Yeah. So basically, my life is probably, kind of mirrors y'all life. Started smoking at 12, 13. Started drinking. Started learning the streets at 13, 14. Rolling dice, playing cards, ducking school. By the age of 16, I was on the block in the mid-90s selling crack. Probably that was a big thing, selling crack. By 18, I never used crack. I tried it one time, and it didn't do nothing to me. Thank the Lord it didn't, because it didn't grab me. You know what I'm saying? But at 18, I started sniffing, and I loved it. That grabbed me. I loved that. That loved it. By the time I was, 23, I moved to Virginia. And I met a real big cocaine connect. You know what I'm saying? And when I met him, it was because all the while I was around Goldsboro, I was small time, and everybody wanted to be the big time guy, right? So when I got to Virginia, like in the blink of an eye, I was that. You know what I'm saying? I had the neighborhood on lock. I was selling smoke, but by the time I met him because I sold him some smoke, and then we started hanging together, and I started buying a little bit of them out just to get high. He was like, man, shoot, you got all these customers. Tell them you got this. That's the only thing I did. The next week, I ain't selling no more weed because it just transferred down. But that was the trap. Right. That was the trap because now I got this fire. I'm talking about fire. And now I'm using.
So this was you when you were locked up?
Yeah, no, that was a picture I did for the for the cover.
That's the question. How old are you?
I'm 47 now. 47. So.
How old is my wife?
What's your time?
Pisces. But that killed me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when people would come and I would smell it, I was like, man, I ain't doing nothing today. But as soon as I open the bag, you know what I'm saying? I got to use the bathroom. Turn it up. People don't know the chemical, like even the mental, and I don't want me talking about this to make you, because just talking about it can make you want it. You know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah. So then it would hit me, and next thing you know, I'm starting. But so when everybody go home, when everybody get their stuff, I'm still stuck. So I'm up 3, 4, 5 days straight because they calling all the time. I ain't enjoying it. My head hurt. I'm falling on my knees to pray to God. I flushed a little bit I had in my purse in the bag. I flushed it down the toilet, pray, get about 30 more minutes. I'm opening the big bag up, putting some more because that was the addiction. That was the trap. You know what I'm saying? That was the trap. And it's amazing that I'm here today because after all that, like I said, so from 2003 to 2008, I had a great run, right? But 2008, that's when I got robbed and shot with my daughter. That's when I came back to North Carolina for a period, started going back to church, praying, because I had to think. Like I grew up in the church, so I had to think when I'm laying there in the hospital full of bullets, with my baby got blood all over, thank God she won't hit. I said, how did I come from the little church boy who used to like to read and write and like poetry to almost getting me and my daughter killed, right? So that's when I started writing my first book, because I had to go through my life. And if you read my book, I wrote in the third person, like, okay, Richard did this, Richard did. I had to look at my life from an outside point of view and figure out how I got there. Amen. And so I suggest all of y'all, if y'all ain't thought about it, start writing, because what it is therapeutic. First of all, it's able to put those things that you know are in your heart on paper, and so you can really see and really visualize, dang, I did that.
I got 3 different facts of the story. I wrote a story like you did, the wrongfully accused. I done wrote it 3 different times.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah. Like if I'm staying back with myself and stuff, but I really want to put it together.
We can put it together. Like I said, that's what I do.
No, I can do it.
Yeah, that's why but you don't understand how much it's going to help you by getting it out, getting it down, getting out. Because honestly, like, it was a part in that story, the brushing with death, that I didn't want to write, because I could see that's right there is where I first started making mistakes. And it was when I used to go to the boys club with me and my 3 other friends, but one of them was older, so he started being able to go where he wanted to go. So he didn't go to the boys club that day. He went over to my other friend's house that liked to smoke, and they was already in the game. Now, he was older than me, but I looked up to him because I ain't had no brothers. So instead of going to the boys club that day, I went with him. And when I went with him, I saw what they was doing, and my desire for sports and my desire to read, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to learn that life now, you know what I'm saying? So but it took, I put the book down for 2 years, because I really couldn't come to grips with that's where it started at, you know what I'm saying? But then I got over that and was able to write the book and keep it going. But through that run, after I got shot, I came down here, did good for a while, but I still had the habit. Like, I won't sell it no more, but I still had the habit. I still like that feeling, you know what I'm saying? And then plus I was traumatized because I had been shot like that. And you know what I'm saying? Like, literally, like, close range, up close, like, for like a couple of years, anytime I see a gun, I'm like, like, even if my homeboy got it, like, he said, man, point that joint the other way. You know what I'm saying? I'm that traumatized from it. So, that led to my drinking and stuff like that. 2011, I tried to get back up there in Virginia, got messed up again, and then, I went through certain things, but in 2014, I had 2 brain aneurysms. 2 brain aneurysms. If y'all, I mean, it's a little scar right here, but if you look at my head, it's kind of, you know what I'm saying? But I had to have 5-hour brain surgery after the trial. So the trial lasted a week. And all through that trial, I had a major headache. But I also got in a fight where I was stressed, but I also hit my head on the bars in a fight. So I don't know if the aneurysm came from that, the stress, or years of cocaine abuse. I don't know. But 3 months later, I had a headache. I finally went to the doctor after 3 days because I kept waiting. First night I took some of my homeboy pills because he got his tooth pulled. Second night I got some liquor. That, you know what I'm saying? Third night I got some cocaine. That didn't work. So the next day I said, okay, I'm going to the hospital now. Like, when I would cough, it would hurt. Like, I could and it was pounding, right? By the time, but I'm still being hard-headed. So I'm like, well, now let me go to school first, and then I'm gonna go to the hospital. Well, let me go home and take a shower first, then I'm gonna go. By the time I got home, it was like 8 o'clock at night. When I'm walking up the stairs, I felt something pop. I felt something pop in my head, and it felt like somebody was squeezing my head in a vice. You know what I'm saying? Kept getting tighter and tighter. So then I started praying, of course. I always run to God. God in tough situations. Start praying and praying. My roommate, I woke him up. Luckily, he had his sister's car, because normally he don't have his sister's car. So I woke him up. Hey, yo, man, come on, man, something wrong, man. Come on, man, please, man, hurry up, take me to the hospital. He was like, all right, man. You know, he smoked weed, so he was all groggy. All right, man. Let me use the bathroom. So I said, come on, man, hurry up. So I'm in the car for 5 minutes. Praying. I'm like, I'll go back in. He had to pee. He had to, you know what I'm saying? Drop it low. So I'm sitting there literally bleeding. My brain is pulling up with blood. Once again, I just gotta give grace to God. So we finally get to the hospital. The hospital he took me to was under construction, like the closest one. Only thing they had was a triage unit. They didn't have nothing. So we sat in there. They did something to stabilize me. I had to wait 20 minutes for the hospital, the ambulance to come from Norfolk. When they got there, I got to Norfolk, like longest ride of my life. They got there, they did all the scans, they did something. Black doctor, I never forget it, right? He comes in there, I knew it was bad the way he was looking. He said, well, you have 2 subarachnoid hemorrhages. Now, I didn't know what that meant, but that's basically an aneurysm. He said, well, problem is you got 2 of them. One of them, he said, we can go through your leg and run a catheter up there, we can get it and tie it up. But we can't get to the other one. But the problem is we don't know which one had busted. So the feeling that I felt was the blood filling my skull. So he was like, the only thing we can do right now is have brain surgery. Like, and he started saying, okay, well, you know, you got a 50% chance of living. Cause they got to, it's inside my brain. So they got to go in there and open my brain. So he said, you got a 50% of living. You might can't walk. You might can't talk. You might be paralyzed. You know what I'm saying? You might be deaf. All those things, right? And me, I don't know if it was my faith or my vanity. Because my first question was, what the scar gonna look like?
Yeah, you worried about that stuff.
I was worried about that, right? You know, just because I had seen, you ever seen people with like head injuries and they head off, you know what I'm saying? Or they got a big scar, and that's what I was trying to do too. So basically, I prayed, you know what I'm saying? I called my daddy, he a pastor, you know, they prayed with me. I called one of my high school friends who was a pastor too, right? So I called him, he called me back. Now mind you, it's like 5, 6 in the morning. So he was like, yeah, I told him what was going on, and he had just started the church. So I said, man, yeah, man, you know, this happening, man. I'm just so proud of you, man. And I love you, man. And just keep doing what you're doing. And you know what I'm saying? So he stopped me because I didn't know what was going to happen. He stopped me. And this is the question I want, because this changed your perception of what we was talking about, how we see ourselves. He said, how are you going into this? Like, how are you going into this surgery? Right. Are you going into it like you gonna die in it? Or are you going into it like you gonna make it out? And that changed my whole perception, because I never had surgery. Like, I never had any medical problems. So when you talking about I got brain, I got, you know what I'm saying? I didn't understand. The only thing I heard was brain and surgery. So I'm like, this is it. This is it. So, long story short, he prayed. I changed my perception. Thanks be to God. 5 hours later, I woke up and my parents was in the room there. You know, they had me drugged up off that good stuff, whatever. And I said something funny. And my parents was like, yeah, he all right. You know what I'm saying? He all right. And so, you know, I stayed in the hospital 10 days. You know, I did a little therapy. 10 days later, I walked out with no side effects. You know, and, you know, the doctor. And then I went back 20 days later for a checkup, and the doctor was like, man, I've never seen nothing like this. You know, you know, see, you don't have to take no more medicine. Like, they gave me some medicine and stuff to take, whatever. But here's addiction. What did I do the same night that I got out of the hospital? With the staple still in my head. Man. You ain't got. That's addiction. And I came back to Goldsboro. This happened to me. I came back to Goldsboro to recover. My homeboy called me because everybody heard about it. You made it out. Come on. And I knew what we was gonna do. We didn't even say nothing. Like, he was like, I'm about to come get you. We didn't talk about it. We went straight to the man's house. Sat in there. Smoking, drinking. I'm talking about, and I can feel, you know what I'm saying? I can feel like the pressure in my.
I would have waited 2 days.
You say that. You say that. So basically, and that happened for 2 days until I realized, I'm like, what am I doing? You know what I'm saying? So then I went back home and did good. And I went back recover. I went back to Virginia, got a job at the beach. I was clean for about 4 or 5 months until, you know, when I one day started drinking. Next thing you know, I'm right back on it. Right back on it for 4 years, the same thing. 2018, the year before I went to recovery, I was in one of those classes. And one of the classes that he always gave me for having drug tests, right? So every Thursday, we had the class. So I knew Thursday, I can go to the class, and then after the class, I can get high, because I don't have the class again until Thursday. This particular night, I went and got my bag before I went to the class. Got out of the class, not even out the parking lot. Boom. You know, by the time I get to my house, I'm taking 2 tubes, right? But this particular time, when I take the tubes, I just get lightheaded. Nothing I never felt before in my life. Like, I just get lightheaded and I start driving down the road and I get to my parking complex. I can't even park the car. I realize something wrong, so I get out the car. I started praying, of course. Yeah. I get out the car. I get out the car, then I fall. Boom. I fell, right? I get up. I say, if I could just make it to my apartment, I don't know why, right? I get to the side of the street where the car's parked. I fall on the car, and then I said, okay, well, let me try to get up again. I got up, and then felt like somebody picked me up, slammed me on the ground. Long story short, I was having a stroke. In hindsight, what I know now, probably what it was, this was in 2018. This is before fentanyl really got out there. I really believe that's what it was, because I had spent years and years and years sniffing, and nothing ever like that happened. So, long story short, I had a stroke. You know, my body was paralyzed. I was on the ground. My body fluids was doing all the, you know, peeing and stuff. I couldn't talk. I was foaming at the mouth. Somebody walked up and said, hey, man, you all right? And I said, yeah, because I couldn't talk. He called the ambulance. The ambulance got there. By the time the ambulance got there, I couldn't even make a sound. Like, they was asking me what was wrong. I knew what was happening because of years of seeing people who had strokes. And, you know, you ever seen somebody stroke that side, right? And so I couldn't answer the question. They looked at my arm, I would donate blood. So they were like, oh yeah, he probably, you know, overdosed. And I'm trying to tell them no. So when I got to the hospital, the nurse walked up to me and she said, hey, is everything all right? And I said, I'm having a stroke. And everything came back. Everything came back. I was blessed. Stayed in the hospital 3 days. What did I do when I got out? I went right to the spot where I stuffed the little dollar bill of stuff that just sent me to God, lucky for me, it won't there. Because if it was in that, I was going to do it. And, you know, the little bit I had in my car, my parents had already, you know, took the liquor and all that out of the car. So basically, I survived that. But, you know, I went looking for it. But it was probably in a year after that, approximately a year after that, that's why I ended up in jail. And that's when I finally decided to change my life. So it's a lot more to the story, but I really thank y'all for listening. I hope y'all got something out of it. No, because by the time, you know, by the time I got there, you know, I came out of whatever it was. But so I hope it's been a motivation. Appreciate y'all.